Hi traders, in this video I'm going to be showing you a basic overview and breakdown of the PineScript editor. So the PineScript editor is inbuilt directly into the TradingView platform, and you can open it and use it directly through your browser. So here I am on the TradingView platform. To open up the Pine editor, we just click on this tab here. So if I click on that, that will bring up the Pine editor. So this is what the editor looks like when you first open it up with a blank script. There are a few things to go over here. First of all, you can open existing scripts by clicking on this button here. If I open that, you can open an existing script from your own script library. You can create a new default built-in script. So this will create a new script based on an inbuilt indicator. So if I scroll down to, let's find the, let's go with just a moving average. If I click on that, this will create a new script with the source code for the inbuilt moving average indicator. And if we come up and open a new blank indicator script, that will open a new blank indicator template. And if we open a strategy, this is the template for a new blank strategy. Then we have our new blank library script, and this will create a new blank library. Now, don't worry, we'll go over what each of these different types are. There's really only three. We've got an indicator script, a strategy script, and a library script. We'll go over all of these throughout the course. Next up, we have save. So if I click save on this blank script, I can name this script. It doesn't matter what you name it, but I would recommend getting into a habit of some sort of consistent, organized naming system. So for me, for example, I like to put 2021 or the current year, 2022, whatever the current year is, in square brackets in front of my script or something like that. Just to organize my scripts. If I open up my scripts here, if I go open my script, you can see that I have a significant amount of scripts here. And a lot of them aren't organized, but I have recently begun organizing them by year and also by subject. So you can see I have a bunch of PSMC scripts here. This is the PineScript Mastery course. This is from the previous version of this course, from version 4 of PineScript. From when PineScript was version 4, it's now updated to version 5, so I'm re-recording this entire course. So whenever I create a new script for this course, I will probably call it PSMC version 5 dash and then the name or something like this. That way, when I open up my scripts, I can just type in PSMC and I get a list of all my PSMC scripts. You don't need to do this, but this is just a good habit to get into early if you plan on writing a lot of scripts. So let me open up a blank indicator here and save it. And I'll call this PSMC v5 Pine editor. Let me save that script. And now we'll move on to add to chart. So if I click on add to chart, that will add the script to my chart. And now we have our script here. And then next we have publish script. This will publish your script to the TradingView library. We'll go over this in more detail in a future lesson. But this is where you can publish your script. You can give it a description as detailed as you want it to be. You have your privacy settings, so you could make it a public or private script. A private script means it's only visible to those with the link. A public script is visible to all traders on the TradingView platform. But you can protect your source code so that only you can see it, but people can still use your script. Or you can make it an invite-only script so that only you can see the source code and you choose who can use it. This is particularly valuable or useful for creating premium scripts that you can charge traders money to use, such as my ultimate pullback indicator, which is a good example of using this invite-only version of a public script. But let's cancel out of this publish script dialog and move on to this little button here. If we click on this, we have a whole bunch of resources here. So we can make a copy of our current script that we have open. We can view the PineScript official documentation. We can view the PineScript official reference manual. This is the same thing, but as a pop-up. So if I click on this, we have the reference manual pop up within our browser. This is really useful when you're learning PineScript. If there's something that doesn't quite make sense to you or something I haven't covered in the course material, you can search through this search box here for whatever that is. So for example, if we're looking at an RSI lesson and I don't cover something in enough detail and you want to learn more, then you can just click on this ta.rsi at the top of this list, and that will give you the reference manual for this function. And it will tell you in detail exactly how it works and how to use this function. But let's close out of that. The next thing we have is our Pine Editor keyboard shortcuts. This is a useful thing to look over and try to memorize some of these key shortcuts. If I click on this drop down box under Pine Editor, we have a whole bunch of keyboard shortcuts for use in the Pine Editor. So for example, you can save your script by just pressing Ctrl S, which is useful. And then we have a bunch of lesson resources here. So the Pine Coders and Codify are kind of tutorials and examples of how to use Pine. They're kind of just written guides. One other thing to mention in regards to the Pine Editor keyboard shortcuts is that when you're writing out your code, pressing Control Space will list all of the available functions and inbuilt variables we have to work with. So for example, if I wanted to see what technical analysis functions we have, I can type TA dot, and then Control Space will list all of the functions we have that deal with technical analysis. So here we have the ATR. If I click on that, we now have the ATR. So if I put in a period length here, like TA.ATR14, if I wanted to plot this to my chart, I could just cut this, Control X, and paste it into the plot function, save the script, and now we're plotting the ATR onto my chart. So this is the power of PineScript, just how easy it is to get certain information and plot it onto our chart. But that's something to keep in mind. The Control Space feature of PineScript is extremely valuable. You'll be using that keyboard shortcut a lot in your coding. And I believe it's Command Space on a Mac. Next up, we have this little button here, which just renames your script. Then we have this favorite button. If you click on this, this will add your script to your favorites menu. So when you click on the indicators and strategies button, your favorite scripts will be at the top of the list up here. Mine are taking a while to load because my internet sucks, but yours should load a lot quicker than that, hopefully. And you can see here that these are all my favorited scripts. Some of them are other people's scripts and some of them are my scripts. Then we have the search button here. This is useful for finding and replacing things in your script. So you won't be using this very often on smaller or simpler scripts, but on longer and complex scripts, this is a really useful tool, especially for refactoring or changing parts of your code. If you click on this little button here, that will drop down the replace text box. And in here, we could write something like ATR. Let's replace ATR with RSI. To do that, you can click on this button, which will replace the first instance of this ATR. So the very first time this tool finds ATR in your script, it will replace it with RSI. If we click on the second button, it will replace all mentions of ATR with RSI. And if you want to add more filters to this find and replace tool, you can click on this button here and we can match case, we can match the whole word, or you can use regular expressions, which is basically patterns in text. You don't need to worry about this unless you're an advanced programmer. Now, the final thing worth mentioning here is this button here. This is your revision or script version button. If I click on 1.0, that will load into the Pine Editor the very first revision of the script we have loaded into this editor. So this will load the script before I made this change of plotting the ATR. So let me click on 1.0, and now we're back to our blank script. And if I want to load the latest version of this script, I can click on 2.0, and that will load back the latest version. As far as I can tell, there is no limit to how many revisions. Every time you save your script and make a change to your script, there will be a new revision added to this list. So I have scripts with hundreds of revisions, and I can drop back to any prior version of my script. This is particularly useful for debugging scripts. So let's say you're trying to add a new feature to a script, and after several changes to your script, you realize you've broken something in the script and you can't work out what you did. Using this as a sort of undo button can undo any changes you've made to your script and reload a previous version. So it's basically like an inbuilt backup tool in the Pine Editor. Anyway, that's about all you need to know about the Pine Editor itself. In the next few lessons, we'll cover some practical coding examples. I'll see you there.